Hey, what's going on? It's almost said sketchy live. We'll get used to this. Hey, it's Johnny on the spot. It's season 2, theoretically. We're 2006. We started this, started trying to do the Johnny on the spots right there at the end of 2025. Like I'm adding the 2025 part. 2026 is now what it is. So this is the first of this year. So welcome to Johnny on the Spot. I am Johnny Jalopy, hot rod artist, home fabricator, and all around automotive fan. We do a podcast on Monday nights called, or tonight even at 9:30, called Sketchy Live, where we do artwork, we talk about automotive stuff. But Johnny on the Spot is just a kind of a small reduced version of this with just me. Unfortunately, ADB is working, but it's just me hanging out with you. So I appreciate you stopping in, and we do all kinds of stuff. I might do like a live drawings, live artwork, or painting or something to that effect, or we discuss a specific topic. Just a short kind of check in on automotive stuff, things that are on my mind in the morning, and then kind of sharing them on the Johnny on the Spot. So, hey, any of your participation is welcomed, and your comments and questions and anything you want to throw out there is welcome. So, welcome to Johnny on the Spot. I see Gordon. What's going on? Welcome. And it is Ron, right? Hey, your audio is working. Hooray. Yeah, right. Well, we actually, this is another thing I'm doing today, is we're trying a different browser connection. My son came over, did some troubleshooting on the whole system that he built us, and said, hey, maybe Google just isn't got enough data transfer capabilities as this platform we're using, which I forget what it's called, but he uses it for gaming, where there's a lot of data and first person type stuff. It immediately is happening. So he said this platform should work pretty good for you streaming your live stuff. So we're going to do that. And that's a disadvantage of doing this live. I was talking to a friend yesterday, who records like podcasts, and other people that record podcasts. And we were talking about the advantages and the disadvantages of doing live. Well, the biggest disadvantage is when it all goes south, it goes south, and you can't hide from it, and it's immediately happening. I can't click buttons and start editing and going, oh, that never happened. You see it happening in real time, and the panic set in and all that kind of stuff. But I think I like the live aspect of it because I'm talking to you directly, and I get to hear your comments and see what you're talking about. Same thing with on Sketchy. And it just makes it more realistic. I'm not pretending to be somebody or editing my way in as a different person through editing. I'm just Johnny Jalopy, just a regular old dude trying to make media and content, and hoping that what we talk about and the things that we have to say are things that you might find in common or you might find enjoyable. So welcome to that Sketchy Live. This is called Johnny on the Spot. So today's topic, a couple things. So I did mention on our last broadcast of Sketchy Live that I had made a decision with my 1930 Model A, which I've been so blessed and fortunate enough to get and have acquired, and is a part of my life. And this is the thing. Like, I hope that this isn't something that people find that they go, all this guy ever does is just talk about the things he wants to do. He doesn't act on them. And I hope that isn't true. I hope what you see is that I contemplate things, and I don't like to rush into stuff, because I think in my life before, I rushed into everything in life and never worried about the fallout or the consequences or any of those kinds of things. And it never just worked out good for me. It always ended up being in a situation to where, had I just waited a little bit, done a little more research, or spent a little more time really, really, really thinking about it, talking about it, I would have made better decisions that I wouldn't have wasted so much time. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. So this conversation about Rose, since we've had her, which has almost been a year now, has been, do we hot rod, do we not hot rod? And now, I just have this want and desire to do it, to jump off the porch, just like I did with Kona, and getting into fabricating stuff. I want to. Hey Dave, what's going on? You rock too, man. Thanks so much for watching and coming on. I appreciate the comment. I just want to be in. I want to be in the game, but I want to do it smart. I don't want to just throw stuff together. And I'm not saying specifically like high cost decisions or is trying to spend a ton of money on building my car the way I want to do it. I just want to make solid, smart, thought out decisions. And really, I have access to such a community of great people who have built their own vehicles and built their own cars and have opinions that I can sift through and make good decisions what may work for me and still be able to do it hopefully on a budget. But anytime you put the word hot rod in anything, there goes the budget altogether. Doug Dorr, oh my God, the legend, the man, the myth. What is going on, man? We have all made mistakes in life. We get over them and we move on. Absolutely. But what I do, I tend to do, read Luke 4:14, right? I will definitely do that. Luke is such a great book. Thanks, man. I have learned from that mistakes are good and they happen in life. But what I've gleaned from it, or what I've tried to take from that in my now older experience, is if I just spend a little bit more time and contemplate and think, and again, I'm not a good person at even asking for help on stuff. I'm terrible at that. I'm not good. And maybe you aren't either. Maybe you're not good at asking for help. And a lot of it comes down to probably the way I was raised and the generation that I come from, which is, you doing things on your own, and asking for help was always like a sign of weakness. And what I'm finding in my age and in my experience is that's not necessarily true. It's okay to have pride in wanting to do things on your own. But if you have access to people who might have a good knowledge of something, there's nothing wrong with asking for questions. And then you have friends, acquaintances, people who really are nice people who would offer you help. And even those people I would turn down, not for no other reason than just not wanting to take advantage of anybody. When the sad part is what I've learned, this is the part I've learned, is the person is offering help generally wants to really help you because it's going to bless them in some way, meaning it's going to make them feel good that they could help somebody out with the knowledge that they have. And they're not trying to put you in a position like you owe them or anything like that. I always was always worried about the backside of it. Like, how am I going to owe this person? Or, this kind of puts me in debt to this person who's offering me help. And I don't want to do that. And what I'm finding in my experience and maturity is that that's not the case either. Those people usually are because they really want to help, and they've got access to information that could really, really help you and make the transition into your project so much easier. So thus the thing I'm trying to learn as well is to take the help when it's offered. We've got Jeff going on. What's going on? Big fan. Thank you so much. Doug Dorr, don't overthink. Do what you want to do. Yeah, I'm not trying to specifically overthink things, but I have this vision of how I see Rose. And I just want to make sure I do it in a way that I'm not going to be taking steps back, or that I regret going, oh man, I should have waited just a little bit longer. For instance, I just received, and again, this is another thing I'm learning in my life. I just received a call from a very good person who follows Sketchy Live and stuff like that, who's local to where I live, which is in Florida, who said, hey, I have this friend who we were having a conversation, and he was talking about how he's got this old small block Ford in his shop, and he had bought it for a project for his, but he's going to go a different route in his project, and he may have this motor available. And it sounds like he's not really asking a ton of money for it. And he says it's in really good condition. And the person that's telling me is basically saying that this person's a reliable person and that wouldn't like be trying to sell me a piece of junk just to make a couple bucks. So I normally would have said, "Hey, I appreciate that, and yeah, don't worry about it. I'll figure it out," and I would have just moved on. Well, I was like, "Yeah, if this person's willing to, yeah, at least I can talk to him and see what's up." So I just spoke to the gentleman this morning, and it sounds like it may be the first major piece to the puzzle of Rose, putting small block forward, which is what I want to do, forward and a Ford, to getting that will work. And it's kind of what what he had just told me he would take for money is like super. I can't believe the yeah, in my budget to where even if it needed a few things, which it will, because it's coming from a fuel injector car, like an 80s Mustang, that I would have to do some things to change it to carbureted, which is what I want to do. Um, but it looks like it'll be it would work for what I need at a price that I really hard to pass up, even if it's not great, even if it's just it's not it ends up being horrible and it was just for mocking things up, it would probably be worth it because it's what I need and it's kind of a price that I'm like, wow, really? He's like, yeah, I just I know it's here and I just don't want to see it go to waste and he planned to use it for his. Let's see, we got Doug saying, I love you, brother. And more faithful in your Rose. Hey man, I appreciate you. Yeah, I'm horrible, guys. I'm learning how to do it. I'm not a good reader, um, so I appreciate that. I'm just gonna pop what people say. We got Gordon who said, "I get motivated and get advice and from family, and also, yeah, for sure." Hey Steve, how are you? Good morning from SoCal. Boy, it's early morning for you guys. You and you and Doug are super up early. It looks like you know each other, so hi to you both. I plan to do a stick. I don't want to do automatic. I still want to keep. I'm probably going to do. Someone had mentioned like T5 transmission for it. Should work really good for that motor. And again, here's the thing that I'll let everybody know. In what I'm another person that knows Doug. And again, Doug Dorr, thank you so much for hopping on, dude. It just thanks, brother. And again, thank you for just being a friend. I appreciate knowing you. Yeah. Again, amazing things that have happened in the art world of knowing legends like Doug Dorzon talking and shooting the crap and listening to me talk about my silly car. Anyways, yes. So this person that lives close by that helped me get Rose builds a lot of Model A's and stuff, and he's got a lot of advice, and he builds a lot of race car type vehicles, and they're awesome, and they run great, and they're well put together, and he's got a great knowledge of things, and he's giving me advice of things too. But he knows Johnny Jalopy's flavor is not going fast. So when we go to build Rose, I could care less about going fast. I'm not, even though I'm building a hot rod, I'm not building it for the speed of hot rod. What I'm really shooting for, what I'd really like to do is build it in a way that it would almost resemble maybe a mild custom that could have maybe been in either driven to car shows of the 60s, late 60s, early 60s, mid 60s. You know what I mean? That time frame, and would have maybe either not been in a show, but somebody who maybe had a cool, like an amazing custom in the show, but this is the vehicle that they drove to the show, but they still like to dabble in custom stuff on their own, like daily drivers. You know what I mean? Or maybe yeah, that's that. So it's not about getting there fast. It's just about once you're there, you pulled up and people go, okay, all right. There's some legitimacy to this guy's, even his little daily drivers got some cool custom touches to it, but it's not all crazy and it's not all, like the whole idea of not chopping Rose right now. And I've talked about that before too, which is the same. We're in the same boat when I talked about putting hot rodding it versus just kind of keeping it stock with all the stock running gear is how do you keep from wanting to chop the top? And I know it's eventually going to happen, but maybe it won't. Because again, my dream is to build it to where it looks like something where it's just And I don't know. I can't remember if Ed Roth's the Model A, the green one. I forget what the name of it was called. It wasn't. What was the name of Ed's first Model A? I have a computer here. Why don't I look it up? But anyways, I think it was green with flames on it, and it wasn't chopped, but it had cool little custom touches, and that's kind of what I want to do. And I've seen a lot of some photos I found of some really nice mild custom Model A's that aren't extremed and chopped and sectioned and all those things. Not that I don't love the look of all of those things. Like when I draw stuff, that's generally how I draw things, is all extreme and crazy custom. But for myself, what I'm hoping is that it's a vehicle that my wife and I can jump in, and if I wanted to go drive to a show locally, like if I wanted to go to Daytona and cruise Daytona, I could go. Or if there was a show, theoretically, in California somewhere, I would be able to jump on the road and drive my car from Florida to California, and it would make it because it's reliable. And do you know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I'm hoping for. So, and I get it. And everybody is saying, hey, small block Chevy, small block Chevy, small block Chevy, small block Chevy. And I get it. But here's the thing for me personally. And I know it's why people are doing it. Like the LSs and stuff are very reliable engines. Like if you talk to most motor guys that are like just motor guys in general, they're all talking LS. Me personally, there's a lot of that. And I don't, there's another part where it's like, again, I'm kind of shooting. And even the motor I'm looking at, it's like an 80s small block. So it doesn't really fit specifically to, like, I didn't find an actual 60s motor, but it doesn't mean I haven't found a 60s motor. I just haven't found a 60s motor. But that's the look I'm going for, or that's in my brain when I'm thinking about how I want to do it. Is that's my vision, is this mid 60s, late 60s mild custom Model A that maybe somebody would have acquired, that either was like an old hot rod maybe back in the 50s that someone pulled out the flathead and because it was dead and was like, oh, let's put something modern in it, and they threw like a Mustang motor in it because the flathead was tired and it just needed to be pulled out and it was just giving too much trouble or something like that, is my thought. But we'll see. So hopefully this weekend, this gentleman said he'll be at his shop. I might go take a look at that. And again, the price that he's offering for it to be available is within, it would make, oh my God, it would free up some other funds for stuff that I really, do you know what I mean? Because I know engine trans, other than, the pieces and parts I'm going to need to do suspension and different things like that and stiffen up the frame, is going to be money. But I know that the engine and transmission and probably the rear end is going to be the most expensive pieces, if you know what I'm saying, which I know you do. If you've built cars, you do know. Clarence Oliver, what's going on? See, Clarence, Clarence Oliver's got a sick Model A, and I love it. It's really, when I saw and got to sit in his, I was like, I got to get one of these. The dream. It's the dream car. It's what I want. Steve, let's see. There are a lot of Model A's that are not chopped and are very cool, which are easier to drive for longer distances. Right. And that's kind of what I'm looking at, Steve, for real. And Doug, you got to get us super excited to see. Yeah. He's got to go. Doug, thanks for stopping in, dude. I appreciate it. I know you got art to do and things to go on, man. You're an inspiration, man. I just know you're a legend, and I appreciate your friendship, brother. David, hey, what's going on? Yeah, and I'm trying to go for it, but and again, here's the sad giant jalopy thing that I do sometimes is I'll talk myself out of things too. Like I'll talk myself out of like, no, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't spend money, or I shouldn't do, cause I shouldn't do it. So I'll start to talk myself out of it. Clarence has got a 272 Y block for that you would do. Is it? And this is a question I've asked people to, even the guy that offered me this really nice price on this motor. I'm like, well, is it running? Does it need a lot of work? Do I have to rebuild it? Because I'm not a motor guy, and I don't. And again, that's the downside of my limited mechanical skills. Like, I am not afraid to turn wrenches and pull things apart and put things back together and work on things. Just my knowledge of how things, I've never done any of that kind of stuff, and I would hate to screw it up. Like, that's the whole reason, like, my Kona is at a shop with a VW like guru guy. He's doing my front steering stuff, and there's some modifications that got to be done to the steering to get it to where it'll stop going through steering boxes. And I'm like, I should be doing this myself, but I don't have enough knowledge. And I just, at this moment, I just don't have the time to learn it. And then because then the car is going to sit, and I can't afford for it to sit, because the longer it sits, then it's going to end up like Kona, or sorry, it's going to end up like Raquel, that is sitting and really needs to go, because I just don't have time to build on a car. Not to mention, I've got this Model A project I really, really want to get going and really want to work on. What's up, Darren? Yeah, the unchopped. It's so funny. I've really been looking at so many cars that are chopped, and I love them. I love a chopped car. I love them. They look so good. Like, there's a guy online, Half-Assed Customs, I think is what it is, who's building this really sick chopped channeled. I think it's a 29 Model A, and it's just coming out so cool. He's made some really neat choices for customization and stuff, and it's going to look great. Full fendered, which that's another thing. When I got a 30s, when I dreamed of having a 30s car, all I could think about is rip the fenders off. You're going to go total fenderless hot rod, and that's what you're going to build, Johnny. That's what you're going to get. And the more and more, once I had it and started looking around, okay, what are you really going to do? Think about, sit down, what are you going to really do? And I started looking at the amount of fenderless Model A's versus the amount of fendered Model A's. I was like, because of how I am, I was like, I want to do where there's less of, not more of. So I was like, man, it would be really cool to do not unmolested, but a fully fendered, non-chopped Model A. And again, I know I'm not reinventing the idea of customizing a Model A. But again, my thought would be that the car itself, what it would represent is, if a customizer or a designer this is the vehicle he would take to shows, like not in shows, and he's not really building it to make it into shows, but he still wants his taste on it. He's still peeing on the trees to make sure. But because the really awesome car is already in the show, and that's the one he's put all the money and dumped all that stuff in. But he can't help but do some things to the other thing. David, build it like mine, 38 Ford Coupe loose. Yeah. Clarence Oliver, yes, you would want to go through it. Ran good. I may hit you up on that, Clarence. I may have to talk to you. Are you going to be at Autorama this year? Let me know, because we plan to be there. Use a 302 Ford, cheapest way, 3-speed standard with aftermarket overdrive. Yeah. 302s. Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure. Henry Perfect was the same. Yeah. Right. It's such a cool looking body, and just like, I just love the back of that car. I could just stare at like, my favorite perspective is to stare at the 3/4 view from the rear fender. That's like it's just my favorite. And once we get the stance right, it's going to look even better, and I can't wait. So that's the Rose plan. So we have a possibility of at least somebody I might be able to acquire an engine from, and I'm sure I will have to go specifically through just to make sure things are good. But for the price of what the person's asking and what it sounds like, it's not a paperweight, but it could be something that could be used even in the worst case scenario as something to mock things up to put that type of a motor in it, because that's kind of what I'm looking for anyways, is around that or 60s Mustang motor. And then we'll go from there, from trans and stuff like that. So I already have acquired a drop axle for it that I had planned to put on it before. See, there's the problem, guys, too. I know that once, like, I need to order the kit to start boxing some of the frame in and stuff. Like, I'm not going to box the full frame. I'm just going to box, I think, up to the firewall, maybe back towards just behind the firewall to where the cross member and the trans are going to go. Yeah. But at the same time, like, God dang it, even though I'm driving it the way it is, I still wish the stance was better. Like, I really want to lower it more, and I really want to put that drop axle in it so it's already there, and then it's just a matter of, changing out the front to more modern brakes, and then start from the front, start heading backwards. Probably going to bring in the 32 Roadster. We'll let you know. Awesome. Okay. Well, I appreciate Clarence. We'll have to talk. Yeah, Gordon. We do all love a good looking booty, and boy, she has one. Rose has got a really nice. It's good stuff. So that's the Rose stuff going on, guys. That's what's going on with Rose. I hate to, and again, I'm talking about it just to keep it in my head and keep talking about it, and stuff like that. But we've got other things. We've also acquired another vehicle here at the Jalopy farm. It feels like that we were fortunate enough that I got an opportunity. And I don't know if anybody has listened to Sketchy Live last week. We kind of spoke a little bit about it, but I was a little on the fence of, like, how do I talk about it that doesn't sound wrong, or I'm not giving the right information. So anyways, what I will tell you is I've acquired a 2005 RT Hemi Dodge Magnum that was formerly owned by one of the Roth brothers, and it was used by one of them for quite some time as their daily driver, and then they wanted a pickup truck and got a different vehicle. But a friend of a friend, Little Daddy Ross friend Scray out here in Florida, had acquired this vehicle. And because they're good buddies and they've known each other in the Army and stuff like that. And Scray's, I finally got to meet him, heard stories about it when Little Daddy's come over, or we've been at the Autorama and he's talked about his friend Scray. It's so cool to finally put a face with a name and get to know somebody. For the brief second or two we got to talk, but we've talked since then online, which is great. And he seems like a super, really awesome, great guy, and can't wait to get to know him better as well. And, add it to the friends list of people that really have become friends with because of this cool relationship of knowing Little Daddy and his brother Charlie, and like Hicks and Shaggy and all these guys that we've met, and Hicks's brothers and family and all this kind of stuff. So it's been really awesome. It's opened doors to knowing more really cool people. Anyways, long story short, this gentleman Scray had made it available that this car needed a new home, and he was in a position to where he couldn't have it at his place anymore, and basically called me up and asked me if I wanted it. And I was shocked, one, that why, out of all the people he probably knows, why would he call me to offer it? And told me the background of it, that the car's not specifically perfect, but I will tell you it's in great shape. And I took some pictures and I plan to share those with you. But anyways, it's it's got some miles on it, and it's been used and driven around, but pretty well maintained for what it is. I drove it from Sarasota all the way over the Skyway Bridge. If anybody knows Florida, that's a pretty hefty climb, and a lot of, you got to know the car runs good to go over that bridge. To get stuck on that bridge would suck. And so it did great. It drove great. There's some issues that I need to fix on it, but it rides like a Cadillac, and it's in really good condition. There's only one interior problem has a small little tear on the seat that can easily be fixed, or I just put a seat cover over it and call it good. It's comfortable. It drives good. AC works. But it's got a few things that isn't uncommon to this year of car. Now that I've done some research on what I need to do to fix it. The cool thing is Scray actually gave me, he had taken it to a local guy in his neighborhood, and they did a diagnostic on it. And basically went through the whole car to see what's wrong with it. And so I've utilized that diagnostic as a way to go through and see what are the things I could fix or work on to get it to where, take care of the majors problems that need to be fixed, which are not major problems. That's the cool part. And then I would have this, this really cool, what we hope Itty B and I's plan is to turn it into the Jalopy mobile, kind of like Little Daddy's got the Rothmobile that is the twin of this car, of the brothers, Charlie and Little Daddy, both got Magnums at the same time, I guess. And so Little Daddy's got the Rothmobile that, they roll the flake in, and when he goes to shows, that's the car that's there, and it's got all these cool Little Daddy monsters and stuff on it. So what we're hoping to do is kind of turn our Magnum in the nods to Big Daddy, Little Daddy, and the Roth family, and then add some Jalopy stuff to it too, to turn it into what we do to utilize for maybe local shows, to take the tables and displays and different stuff like that. So that'll be pretty cool. Let's see. Steve, after having a high performance engine, now I am a simple stock engine, intake headers. Great. Yeah. That's what I want. Just, I don't need to would I like to do a burnout? Sure. But tires cost money. So I'm like, I just want it to go. Can I pass somebody? That would be great. If I could just pass somebody and I need to pass and it would sound good doing it, great. But I'm not looking to race anybody. What's up, Moldy Marvin? What's up? Good to see you. Hope you're feeling good. Hope things are great. Great to see you. Another amazing person that I can't even believe I know through the internet. So one day I hope to meet him. Hope to meet you. So I hope everything is good. But so here, let me share with you a picture of the vehicle itself. And again, I'm pretty stoked. It's in great shape. So it's a 2005 Dodge Magnum RT with the Hemi. And it just needs a little love. That's all. And we have the capability of, I think it'd be fun to turn it into the Jalopy mobile, to where we could go to shows and bring tables. Like, it's perfect for hauling stuff and doing things. And that would be great. And that's what we're hoping to turn it into. But it's got a few things that need to be fixed, which, it's 2005. And again, they're the most common things that these particular vehicles apparently have go wrong with them, which is there's because it's such a long car, Dodge decided to put two drive shafts that meet in the center. And then they've got a center, what's it called? Center, doggone it. It's a drive shaft carrier is what it's called. And from what I'm seeing on YouTube and the internet, that drive shaft carrier tends to go out in them pretty regularly. Like, especially at this year, being it was also, where they lived for the longest time, the car probably spent most of its life was out west in Arizona. And it probably saw its, and those things have, it's a rubber, it's a carrier with a rubber gasket, like a big rubber. It almost feels like a hockey puck, looked like a hockey puck, like a big rubber hockey puck with a bearing in the center. And then the drive shaft sits in that bearing and spins, and that keeps the balance of the drive shaft. And so from what I'm seeing, Dodge 300 had them, the Dodge Charger has them. I think even the Dodge Challengers have them. The Magnums definitely have them. And this is a common thing that goes out in these things. And so right now, when you go to put it in drive and you take off, especially if you mash on the gas, it immediately you can hear a clunk in the center of the vehicle. And it's definitely It's got to be that. So my plan is to get this thing up on some jacks and really take a look for myself. But what I'm seeing in the research and what they even said needed to be done to it on the diagnostic was that needs to be fixed. Good news, it's only, I think the part itself is like $120. It's just, and again, even when I saw some guys that didn't look very mechanically proficient on YouTube fixing these things, and they're out in the parking lots. Most of them were out in front of Targets and Walmarts and things, dropping the axle and changing this thing out, and they did it in like 45 to an hour with minimal tools. And it's, so I think it's definitely within the capabilities of doing it myself. So I think that's the first major thing I'm going to tackle. The other things that it needs is obviously a tune-up. I don't know. The glove compartment was full of service stuff that had been done to it. So that's good news. Because I've heard this particular motor, Dodge did some stuff with the Hemi in this year that some of them can have failure as far as like the rockers and different things, but I'm not hearing any ticking noises or clicking noises or bad noises coming from the motor in any way. But it did on the diagnostic, it did have something talked about that it needed like a tune-up was part of it. The crazy thing is that I guess this thing, I feel stupid saying this, so if please excuse my ignorance when it comes to this particular motor, but apparently this has got 2 spark plugs per cylinder, and or maybe it's spark plug injector per cylinder, but and then the ignition system is all in one deal that sits above that whole set. So when you go to replace it, in the parts listing, it's showing like 16 spark plugs. So I think it is 2 spark plugs per cylinder. Holy cow. So anyways, just to do a spark plug change on this motor is not cheap. But it looks like it needs to be done. But here's the cool thing. It's got this Roth sticker. I've never seen one of these Roth stickers before. So I feel pretty privileged that I have one of these. It's definitely not at least I don't know. I haven't seen, maybe it's a one-off. I don't know. But it's on there. And then on the back window is really cool. It's my favorite sticker that matches one of my t-shirts that I got from Little Daddy. Just to show it's legit, man. This is a full-on Rothmobile as well. Okay. I'm not just fronting. Reliable. Listen, stickers prove everything. So does your car have this on it? Mine does. I'm just kidding. It's neat though. It's neat. I never in a million years would have ever, first of all, thought I'd have any access to knowing any of these folks, much less be talking to them, much less having them over, much less have spent time and got to know them and be able to call them friends. I can't. It's crazy to me, but this is a new thing. So we're going to turn this into the Jalopy Mobile, but it's got a few things that need to be done to it. But it drives. Like I said, I drove it from Sarasota to basically the Tampa area. It was a 2-hour drive, and it did great. It other than the little, other than the noise, the few little noises that it would make when I would come to, like if we had to come to a stop or something to that effect. That's it. It ran. Other than that, it never got hot. I just kept checking that and looking to see about that kind of stuff. It's got a little squeak, and that was one of the things it did say in the diagnostic is maybe the serpentines need to be changed. Something to look into that, but it definitely doesn't make a ton of noise. Other than the clunking noise is the worst noise. And again, I was like, what was the crazy thing when I got in and I heard the clunk? I'm like, that sounds like the drive shaft. Before I even knew it had a split drive shaft with this center thing, I just something was like, that makes sense. So that's where we're at on the Jalopy Mobile. Whoops. We're going to turn into the Jalopy Mobile. That's the plan right now. Plans change. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Nothing says that it doesn't become something that, help somebody else out. I don't know yet. But you know, but we've got it. We've got it. It's legal car. We now own it. It's legally ours. And so we want to get some things and spend a few bucks, not a ton of money. If it starts coming into that, then we'll definitely have to do something else. But I'm hoping, based on what I've seen of the majors, it doesn't seem too major of what it's going to take to get those things repaired. And then we'll go from there. Once those small initial things are changed and fixed, we'll see. Then we'll see. Because there was a little bit of a weird in the shifting just once or twice, but not majorly. So, but my new Jeep has had a few times where it shifted kind of weird, and then it didn't do that for almost a year, and then it did it again a couple of weeks ago. So, does that mean the transmission's going out? I don't think so. I just they're quirky. Cars are quirky. I do know that. Shoot, we took Rose out for a drive Saturday, drove it to a little bagels or Cars and Coffee on Saturday, which was so much fun. It was the first show of this particular place, their first Cars and Coffee at this bagel shop here in our local Newport Richey area off of Little and Ridge Road. And it drove there great. It did so good. And we stopped and we went to things and then we stopped at Ace Hardware. And as I'm driving back from Ace Hardware, like 3 blocks from my house, it started sputtering and making a lot of popping. And Itty B is like, hey, does that seem normal? And I'm like, sometimes it pops. And then I stopped and she got out. We unloaded all our stuff. And I looked, and the carburetor had, there was gas coming out of the carburetor, which is not normal. But I do know when I was pulling into the parking lot, because it's lowered and it doesn't have a normal gas pedal. It's got the accelerator button. My foot was tapping on the gas. So I don't know if maybe I flooded, was pushing more gas when it wasn't, I was coming off but fuel was going in. I don't know. And then it was running. But then I let it sit for an hour, went back outside, it fired right up, and the popping and all that noise went away, and the carburetor was completely dry and stayed dry. Cars are quirky. So, yeah. And yes, fixing is cheaper than payments. I agree. Looks like my buddy Art is on. What's going on, Art? Hope things are well, dude. Hope everything is going good, my friend. How's your projects coming? I hope they're coming along good. So yeah, I think that's it. Did want to share real quick. I posted this on Facebook, and then we'll get out of here. So I did post. We're gonna be making. Everybody got really great response on. I'm gonna go to this other camera here real quick. Got great response on the sketchy John Jalopy Hot Rod Art Stay Sketchy hats. Probably I'm probably going to pull the trigger, and these will start becoming available. I'm probably going to do them in the black and white, not all black though, because I dig the way the black and white hats look. And then I've got the same design is going to be on a t-shirt as well, and I hope to have those by the beginning of next. At least have the order filled by the beginning of next month, so we'll start taking orders on those hats or those hats and shirts. The hats are a little more tricky to get, but I got to talk to my hat guy and see about those. Let me go back over here. And so we'll do that. I'm working on the main mystery. It looked like you found the problem. Did you get it fixed, Art? I saw that big old gap that you were showing that wasn't good, where it was bubbling and stuff. Is that again the way the Dodge did the ignition? It seems similar to it's so strange the way they decided to do. I don't know if it's because Art has a V6 motor. I don't think it's not a Hemi engine, and just it's a weird way they did the ignition on stuff. I don't remember. I look at my Jeep and I don't think it's set up the same way either. Of course, it's not. I don't think it's really a Chrysler motor. I think it's a Fiat type thing or whatever. But Pentastar motor. I don't know. Anyways, so hey, this has been Johnny on the Spot. Sure appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hanging Soon I'll have another episode for you, and we will probably do some drawing. I want to start I got to prepare myself. We've got shows coming up that are around the corner. We've got our teach-in happening at one of the schools out in the Orlando, Claremont area. We have a Great American Teach-in that we're going to. Then we're heading to a car show the following day. And I'm terrible with notes and information, but that's coming up. And then we're trying to head to Tulsa to get to the Starbird show, and then Detroit Autorama's right after that. And we were really gearing up to get product and stuff ready for the Detroit Autorama, because that is our favorite show. We get to hang with all our Detroit family, and we can't wait to hang out with them and hang out with you guys. So we hope to see you there. If you're, if you go to Autorama, come see us. And again, if you're going to the Starbird show, I plan to be there. I'm not going to vend or anything, but I plan to be a spectator and sitting in someone's booth, hanging out, having some cold beverages and shooting the crap about cars and art and hot rod stuff. And hope you'll make it there as well and find me so we can talk and say hello. If we haven't met in person before, that would be great. I'll look forward to it. So that's Johnny on the Spot. Until next time, we'll see you very soon. And, keep working on stuff. It's winter time for most of you, so keep banging away on those projects. Take your time, make good decisions, and have a fun rest of your week and into the weekend. And we will see you very soon. And always, guys, stay sketchy. We'll see you guys soon. Later. And I need to put an outro, and here comes the outro. See ya.